Hello everyone, that Manga Kid here to do my August and September manga haul. I only got like 3 or 4 things in August, but then September I got quite a bit, one of which I am so excited for, so I'll save that one for the end. But anyway, let's just get right into it. I'll just start off with the one anime series I got recently, and that is the complete Blu-ray collection of Hyoka. This is the complete series, part 1 and 2, or season 1 and 2. I believe you can get this collection in separate separate seasons, but this is the entire collection. Hyoka is a series that I watched back whatever year it came out, which was I don't know if that was 2013 or something, or 2016. I don't remember honestly how long ago it was, but I remember that I watched it when it came out, and it was one of the first series where the animation was just so beautifully stunning, and one of the first series. And I've been watching anime for well over a decade, but this series in particular, there are certain scenes that still stick with me to this day. Just how beautiful the animation was done, and the colors and the vibrancy of it. And it's basically just a series about this loner dude who joins I believe it's the literature or literacy club, not because he wants to, but he joins it. And this girl is there, and she's just so fascinated by life and everything. And these other two folks join as well, and they're also reasonably peppy. And Oreki, the main character, he's just he's very intellectual and very just not interested in relationships, but this kind of group of folks brings another side of him out, a more tender side that actually cares about friends and whatnot. But yeah, they kind of solve mysteries around the school and town, and it's just it's kind of funny and ridiculous and kind of puzzle oriented. And it's a lot of fun. I've only watched the first episode since. I'm going to watch it with my sister, who's never seen it before, and I'm just excited to have it. It's one that I've always really kind of wanted, but just never. It was never the right price. It was always pretty expensive to get, and then my local used media store had it for a reasonable price, and I went, well, I guess now's the time. So anyway, here's onto some continued and completed series this month. I got Go For It Again, Nakamura. This is by Sunday. I don't know if this is actually completed. I'm just counting it as completed because these are not numbered volumes. The first one was a one-shot story, and then it was continued because of its popularity. This one is thinner than the other one, unfortunately. And this is basically about Nakamura, who is openly gay to himself. He's not struggling with his sexuality or anything, but he is struggling because he has a crush on his classmate who... as of this volume, they're now acquaintances / friends, and he's kind of continuing the struggle of trying to communicate effectively with this boy he likes, from the first volume where he was trying to communicate just at all with that boy. I really like the older style of, I was going to say animation, drawing, artwork, and I did not like this volume as much as the first one. I love the first one. I've read it multiple times. I think it's a little more lighthearted and comedic. This one focuses a lot more on jealousy, and it's a little bit less playful, and at some points kind of harsh. That was kind of the way that I felt. Not that I didn't like it. I just for sure like the first one a lot better. I will pick up anything that Sunday releases though, because I really, really like the first volume of this, and then also Total Eclipse of the Eternal Heart, I think is what it's called. I hope we get more darker works by Sunday, but anyway, I've talked too long about this. Go For It Again, Nakamura. Happy to have it anyway. Then I completed my collection of Hatsuharu. If you remember, I think the last haul that I did, this is volume 9 through 13. I was talking about how it's been well over a year since I started collecting Hatsuharu. I bought volumes 1 through 5 originally, and I really didn't care for it too much, so I never continued it. And then all of a sudden, randomly, a couple months ago, I had this inkling to read it, and wanted to continue and know what happened. So I started buying the volumes again and finished my collection. At this point, I've not read these volumes. So I've read up to volume 8. I haven't read any of these because these just came in. And so, yeah, I'm looking forward to reading them. This is a shoujo series written from the male perspective. So we follow a few of the boys who are friends with each other, and then their kind of love lives with the girls in the series. So the art's pretty good. I'm actually quite enjoying it now. I like this guy a lot. Yeah, I like quite a lot of the characters, actually, so I'm pretty excited to finish this, and I'm glad that I came back to it, because, yeah, it was one that I didn't get rid of the first 5 volumes because I went, you know what, I feel like one day I might come back to this, and I'm glad that I did. I also love when they make it very clear on the final volume that it is the final volume. It's so nice in the store if you don't have, like, if you're not going to look it up, to be like, oh, that's the final volume, cool. I know that this is all I'm collecting of this. As opposed to trying to guess. But yeah, and these spines all look so cute together, so I'm excited to have these actually on my shelf. I say that as if I actually have shelf space. Currently, they're all over the floor. My shelves are overrun at the moment, unfortunately, or fortunately, I guess. But anyway. Next up, I got the second and final omnibus of Devil Ecstasy by Shuza Hoshimi. The only reason this is still wrapped and I have not read it is because I am looking forward to participating in the Manga Freakathon, I think is still what it's called. Anyway, the Bizarre Individual hosts a readathon in October every year, and I will be participating. And so I wanted to save this one because it is a darker theme, and I know that I'll blow through it pretty quickly and be able to add it to my list of things I read in October. So yeah, that's the only reason I haven't read this yet. This is a ridiculous older Hoshimi title about this teenage boy, who goes to a brothel that happens to be run by succubi. And so he's got this trauma related to larger boobs. So he meets this succubus who has really small boobs, and it's ridiculous. I loved the first volume. I thought it was stupid and funny and whatever. And if you don't take it too seriously, it's a good read. I also love Hoshimi in general, so happy to have that one. Then I finished the collection of The Passion of Gengoro Togame, Master of Gay Erotic Manga. This is a Fantagraphics? Oh, goodness. I think it's Fantagraphics. Yep. Re-release, because I think it was a hardcover back in the day that I unfortunately missed. And then they decided to re-release this collection in 2 softcover volumes years later. So this is new. I had them both pre-ordered. I really enjoyed the first one. I will read this one and then obviously do a review of the collection. But I think this is a really good piece of manga history because Gengoro Togame is so influential in the kind of gay komi scene, in that he kind of pioneered it. But yeah, they're pretty brutal stories. A lot of it is very S&M related. So you definitely have to be in the right headspace to read them. So I will read this when I feel like it, but yeah, the artwork is extremely explicit and quite often violent as well. And so, yeah, it's just, you'll know if this is for you or not. And I'm just really happy to get more Togame in my collection, and I hope we continue to get some works by him and other prominent gay komi creators, because you don't see that coming to English publishing a lot. Next up, my just continued series that are not yet complete. I got Omnibus number 5 of the Kurosagi Corpse Delivery Service, still wrapped because I'm still in the process of reading Omnibus number 2, which I recently got, which means now I can read my collection of it because it's now back in print. So, yeah. Buddhist college students trying to make money off of communicating with the dead and they find dead bodies. They then are able to communicate with the spirits or essences of those dead bodies, the souls of those people who inhabited the bodies originally, and then they try to bring them to peace. And somehow they think that they'll make money off of this. Spoiler alert, they never do. So yeah, it's funny and really dark and twisted. I quite enjoy it, but I'm going to leave my copies of it wrapped until I actually get to them, because there's 3 volumes in each of these collections, and now I have volumes 2 through 5 to read, so I'm going to leave my 3 through 5 wrapped until I actually get to them. But yeah, happy to have it. Finally, I had this one pre-ordered for well over a year. Next up, we got volume 5 of Jealousy. I love this pink cover. So beautiful with this, like the purple tones in his hair. Oh, final volume. I did not even notice that. It says final volume right there. Not sure how I missed that. That's very exciting to me. I, again, have not read this only because I want to read it for the readathon in October. This is a darker, Yakuza-themed BL story that I absolutely love. It is extremely brutal. And very, very sexually explicit. Lots of unconsensual situations that are like legitimately unconsensual. Like they know they're unconsensual, but there are also consensual situations as well. Yeah, I really like it. I understand why some people don't. I'm not going to flip through any pages of this because I don't want spoilers, and I also don't trust any of the pages to not be horribly explicit. So yeah. Next up, I got volumes 4 and 5 of Teasing Master Takagi-san. I love this series. I watched the 2 seasons of the anime, and I loved them. Watched season 1 when it came out, and then watched season 2 when it arrived on Netflix. And I'm just slowly picking up the manga as I can. A lot of these go in and out of, like, they've been out of stock for a while because Yen Press is having difficulty keeping, like most publishers, a lot of their stuff in print at the moment, or in stock. So I'm just kind of picking up a couple volumes here and there when I can, in order. I don't want to pick up a bunch of them that I can't read yet. But this is a really cute teasing series about these 2 middle school students. It's not harsh really at all. It's very lighthearted. It's adorable. It legitimately warms my heart. They're so cute. And funny and just like ridiculous. And so Nishikata wants to tease Takagi because she constantly is teasing him, and he can't get away with anything. She always catches him before he gets to whatever it is he's actually trying to do, and she throws him off guard, and it's just so cute. And what I like is that she is not at all subtle about how she feels about him. She really likes him, and she tells him often, but he doesn't believe her because she teases him so much that he just thinks that she's joking, and it's really cute. Next up, finally got another volume of Bungo Stray Dogs. Again, this was out of stock for quite a while. I got volume 17. I haven't read this one yet. Again, I want to read it in October. I haven't read a volume of this series in forever, so I remember what arc we're in. I don't remember what happened in the last volume specifically, though. I really like Bungo Stray Dogs. I really hope that this will end soon. I know it's based on a light novel. I have no idea, where the story in the light novel is, if it's done, if it's not. I have no idea. But I hope the manga ends soon. I really, really love this one, and I don't want to stop collecting it because I do enjoy it, but I don't want it to get to a point where I resent having to collect it because I'm just not as invested anymore, and I'm starting to get to that point, so I'm really hoping this is done sooner rather than later. I finally also, again, got volume 15 of Horimia. This was out of stock forever, but yeah, I read this one. Enjoyed it. This one, I believe, is done with volume 16, if I'm remembering correctly. I hope that's the case, because again, I love this series. It's really lighthearted, romance. Funny as hell. So funny. about a bunch of like huge cast of characters, but what I like about it is it introduces them throughout the series rather than like, you know, it doesn't start off with 20 characters. It starts off with a main core few, and then as the volumes go on, it adds a few more and more and more, and now we're at a point where there's tons of them. All very unique, all really entertaining. And yeah, I love this one. When I do have the final volume, I will reread it probably relatively quickly, because I've been collecting this one since volume 2, I think. So maybe it was volume 3 or something. Anyway, since close to the beginning. And I always get excited when a volume of this comes out. But yeah, it's at the point now where I'm ready for it to be done so I can just enjoy what exists of it. Next, I picked up volume 13 of Yotsuba. I haven't read this volume yet in particular. It just came in. I just buy these as they're relatively cheap, and I just read them because honestly, while it does have a sort of sequential story, it's really not that big a deal. I own volume 1, 2, 10, and now 13. So I read volume 1, then I read volume 10, then I read volume 2, now I have 13. So yeah, I love this one. It's about Yotsuba. She's young. She's a really, really young kid in a small farming kind of rural town lives with her dad, her single dad, and hangs out with the other neighborhood people who are all much older than her, and just explores and enjoys life, and I really love it. Next up, I got some Shuza Hoshimi stuff, again, continuing. I got volumes 10 and 11 of Blood on the Tracks. These are releasing so fast that like I blinked and randomly I was missing 2 volumes. So I picked those up and read them immediately, of course. And then I also got Welcome Back Alice volume 3, thoroughly enjoyed. I understand why people don't like this one. If you don't, it is rather sexually explicit or sexually oriented. This is another very like puberty, sex-focused manga about young people exploring sexuality, which I really enjoy that topic. I really like to kind of dive into particularly the way that Shuza Hoshimi presents a lot of these topics, like in Flowers of Evil, as where is the line between like healthy sexual relationships and like perversion or crossing into other bounds of like unconsensual acts and things like that, and how do young people kind of navigate those situations. And I just find that the way he presents these topics, while yes, they are embellished and kind of over the top, they also feel very like full of heart and kind of grounded in reality. And I just really enjoy the way that he explores a lot of these topics. And pretty much every work by him, maybe except for like Shino Can't Say Her Own Name, very much explores the topic of perversion, of sex, and how we kind of come into this aspect of being human, and what age that starts to happen and how that progresses throughout young adolescence and adulthood. And so, yeah. Anyway, even in Blood on the Tracks, it explores those. Blood on the Tracks, Happiness, it all explores those same topics. It's just presented in a different way. And so I don't blame people for not enjoying Welcome Back Alice or Flowers of Evil or whatever, or feeling like Blood on the Tracks or Happiness is more palatable than those other series. But when you really kind of get down to the bare bones of it, Blood on the Tracks and Happiness have those very same themes in them. They're just presented differently in a package that maybe seems more palatable for certain audiences, I guess. But because it's more presented as a horror series, and there's more, Happiness focuses on vampirism, and Blood on the Tracks focuses on mental illness and family ties and that kind of thing too. So anyway. I really enjoy Shuza Hoshimi works. I really enjoyed all of these volumes, and I'm super stoked to continue to get his stuff in English, and always happy to read more when they arrive. So next up, I got volumes 11 and 12 of Don't Toy With Me, Miss Nagatoro. 12 just came in. I haven't read it yet. I did read 11. That came in August. I love Nagatoro. This is a great teasing manga again. You know, at this point in the series, and relatively soon at the beginning, we get away from the really, really mean stuff into clearly they like each other. They just don't know how to express it. She's adorable. I find her so entertaining. I think she's very funny and really sweet. She just doesn't know how to kind of portray her feelings in a way that is not immature. And our main guy, I think he's pretty charming. I think he's cute, and I love seeing their interactions. And this is another one that legitimately like warms my heart. I think they're just so adorable and clumsy and stupid. But yeah, it's such a fun series, and beautiful, beautiful spines, like bright colors. It'll just look great when it's all completed. I got Phantom Tales of the Night, Volume 4. Again, saving for October. This one's a little bent, but I'll, bend it back into a proper state. Came like that in a box, unfortunately. But anyway, haven't read this one yet either, because like I just said, I'm saving for October. This is a kind of yokai story. This innkeeper in the body of a young kind of boy, pretty boy. He runs an inn that's kind of the border between fantasy and reality, or supernatural and natural world. And if you stay at his inn, you have to tell him a secret. And then he kind of manipulates your secret into something, that you really didn't want. He basically is a story of, like a genie, where you wish for something and then it turns out that the genie grants your wish, but in a way you didn't really expect or want. The be careful what you wish for sort of thing. It's dark, it's gritty, it's beautiful, beautifully illustrated. I love this series, and honestly, if there was in and out of stock volumes, and then also they're reasonably expensive, so I really, if I had the funds and they were all in stock, I'd just like pick them all up in one go. But really great series, love it. Next up, speaking of out of stock, we got Monster and the Beast Volume 3. This one, geez, like Volume 2 was the same deal, where it was out of stock for like 6 or 7 months, and then finally I was able to get it. This one, same deal. Completely out of stock, and I finally was able to get it. Still wrapped, because again, I'll read it in October. This is the story of this kind of middle-aged dude who is a bit of a playboy. He looks European to me. I don't know if it's actually set in Europe. I can't remember. But he meets this monster and kind of takes him... Kavo's the monster's name. Liam is the main character. Kind of takes Kavo with him around, and they end up forming a relationship. I love the art in this one. I think that these two are quite funny. They have a very interesting dynamic. There's a lot of like humor in this series that's really charming. I believe this volume is quite explicit. So, if you're not into human and non-human situations, maybe this isn't for you, but like I just find this story really funny and charming. And I really am excited to read Volume 3, and I assume this is not the final volume. So, yeah, I'm excited for more whenever, the next millennium that I get another volume of it. But anyway, I got Volume 7 and 8 of Living Room Matsunaga-san. This is another one I've just been kind of slowly collecting. I really love this series. It's a boarding house story, age gap romance between this, like, high school girl, and I think he's, like, 26 or something. They live in a boarding house that is not a high school boarding house. She lives with a bunch of adults. It's really sweet. It's charming. I'm not going to open this just because there will be spoilers, but I love these characters. I love him. Yeah, it's this manga is like, how many pretty people can possibly exist in this world? Like, they're so gorgeous, and they're just like, everything about them is just perfect. And you know, it feels so unrealistic. I'm like, yeah, you get your like perfect, pristine little boarding house with these adults who are all like really nice to you. And it just, I don't know, it suspending my disbelief here, but I love this series. It's so fun. I love boarding house romance series, and this is so much, I just really love it. I think volume 11 is the final volume. So I'm only a few away from finishing, and I hope I get them soon. But I did read these both, and they're quite good. So next up, I got Omnibus 2 of Tokyo Revengers. This is volumes 3 and 4. I did read this. I was finally getting into new content for this because I have the first 3 volumes digitally, and I do have a first impressions on my channel of that. But finally, I got to read volume 4. So super excited about this. I really, really love this story so far. I can't wait for more of it. I love kind of like delinquent stories, particularly delinquent stories that focus on youth and teenagers and stuff. I just find them so fascinating. I really enjoy them. The art in this is great. And there's time travel in this one, and just like, there's a lot going on, but it's so fun, and I love stories like this that really grip you and just pull you in. Next up, a couple things that are brand new, but also complete all in one. We got The Music of Mari by Usamaru Furuya. This is a One Piece Books release, which I don't know how I didn't know that when I bought it, but it showed up and I went, oh, it's One Piece Books. I just assumed it was like Vertical or something, or Kodansha, I guess now, but I love Usamaru Furuya. Easily one of my favorite creators, just because I really, really like his art. I like the way that his mind works. His manga is just like really incredible and often makes me think in ways that other stuff doesn't always make me think. So I've only just started this, like I'm a little ways into it. As you can see, the artwork is, as always, really incredible. This is a bit more mystical. Like, I honestly don't really know what this is about, but this is more mystical than like horror-esque, because a lot of other Furuya works are kind of really psychological horror. Doesn't mean this can't turn into that, but I just don't get the vibe from that, at least at this point. Yeah, I read like the prologue piece, and then I think the first chapter. I'm not entirely sure what this is about. It's clearly set in a world that is a fantasy world that doesn't actually exist, and yeah, I don't really know what it's about, but I am excited to find out, and I'm glad that we got more Furuya works. I know we're getting a reprint of Furuya's version of No Longer Human, which I'm stoked about. Read that from my library years ago. But yeah, I'm excited about this, and I hope that this trend will continue, and we'll get some more works of Furuya's, because I love Lychee Light Club, and I really like Genkaku Picasso as well. So yeah. Next up, we got Yama Wayama's Let's Go Karaoke. I was very excited for this release because when I read, what is it called? Captivated by You, I was captivated by that release, and knowing that this creator was new to creating manga, I was very, very excited to see what they would do next and what else they would release, and then even more excited and hoping that we would get it in English. So I hope that Yen Press continues this trend and will release more of Wayama's works, because I think that they deserve to be in English, and I'm super stoked to read them. I love the artwork is like kind of like dreary, gloomy looking people, but the stories are often quite comedic, actually, and just pretty funny. So this is about a Yakuza dude who, for whatever reason, goes to a middle school choir show performance and picks this kid up who's like the leader of the choir, because he's the best singer, and says, hey, we're going to karaoke and you're going to teach me how to sing. And I won't say any more than that because it's just that stupid, and it's really great, and you should read it. It's funny and ridiculous and just short and sweet. It's nothing groundbreaking, but it is hilarious. So we'll leave it at that. Now, the final thing that I've picked up in the last 2 months that is my favorite thing that I own, at this point, not just manga-wise, but just in general, my favorite thing that I own is I finally caved and bought the entire series of Horomusuko by Takako Shimura in Japanese. Because if you have watched my videos for any length of time, you probably know that Wandering Sun is my favorite series ever. And we did not ever get a complete series in English of it. I also missed out on picking up those volumes. My library has them, and that's great. But 8 volumes is not 15 volumes. It's 8 volumes. And Fantagraphics never completed it. And for, I don't know, maybe like 5 years now, I've been like, maybe I should just buy it in Japanese. And I kept telling myself, no, they'll reprint it. Maybe they might reprint it. Why would I buy it in Japanese if I could buy it in English? And I finally lost hope. I just don't think it's going to happen. And I also have been studying Japanese for the past year. Not year. Well, I started at the beginning of this year, but anyway. I've been studying Japanese, and I know that it will take me years to get to a level where I can actually read this realistically. However, I don't want the point to come where I could read this and then I go to buy it and I can't get it. So I paid so in Canadian funds, it was $81 for the entire series. And then I had to pay $15 in duties and taxes at the border, or to import it. So all in all, I paid under $100 for these 15 volumes, which honestly is a good deal to me. And they're in like reasonably pretty good condition. There's like a slight stain on the top of one of them. I don't know which one, I can't remember. They're all in like really, really good condition. So I am stoked about that. This is, if you don't know, the series that was way ahead of its time, first of all, but series about Shu, who is at the beginning of the series 10 years old, and she is a young trans girl who is just trying to figure herself out. She meets Takatsuki, who is a classmate who is pretty masculine, and they kind of bond over their like ambiguous gender roles and opinions and thoughts on gender and that sort of stuff. And then we meet other characters who are kind of exploring their sexuality, their sexual orientation. They're also their gender expression and gender identities. And, you know, it deals with family and the impact on the parents and the siblings of young gender nonconforming kids. It deals with relationships and how do you tell a partner that you're dating, hey, by the way, you might think I'm a boy, but actually I'm a girl. How do you reconcile those feelings, and how do you keep those relationships healthy and positive, and how do you exist in a society where this is not deemed as acceptable? It's beautiful. I love it so much. I'm so happy I own this. And this is a reasonably good motivator for me. I'm enjoying my studying of Japanese, but this is a good motivator for me because I was able to, like, flipping through volumes, like I can pick out words here and there that I can actually read, or phrases or sentences that I can read and understand. And that's exciting and that's fun. There's a ton of it, obviously, I can't understand yet, but the key word there is yet. And one day I will be able to read this and enjoy it for what it is. Now, that being said, if any English publisher does pick this up and releases it, I will also buy it in English. I've been humming and hawing about it for so many years that I would feel very hypocritical if somebody actually published it and I didn't pick it up. So yeah, I'm excited to have these. It's really cute. Obviously, as Japanese volumes do, they have the dust jacket, and each volume is a different color of this like little printed kind of block design. they're just so cute. I really, really like these, and I'm happy to have them. So I'm looking into buying some more Japanese volumes of manga. I'm looking now, like this one I obviously wanted because this is my favorite series of all time, and I really, really wanted to own it. But I'm looking into buying some more like beginner level or simple kind of series that I will actually be able to like practice at this point reading. But yeah, there might be a couple other kind of series that we don't have in English, or that we don't have complete in English, or whatever, that I can't read yet, that I might end up buying if it's a good price. But yeah, I hope that I will be able to read this at some point in the generally not so distant future, and that I'll be able to find some other Japanese manga that's a good price, and that I am able to practice with. But anyway, so happy to have these. This is just I just keep getting, it just like fills my heart. I was so excited when they came, and it's the spines are so cute too. Like they're all, you line them all up and they've got these beautiful little like kind of watercolor almost imagery, and they look so cute all together lined up. So I'm so excited. I hope I can find a space on my shelf where these can actually be displayed, because again, right now they're on the floor. So yeah, anyway, that is everything I picked up. This is a very long video. Apparently I was in a talking mood. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed or saw something that you've not seen before, or that you're interested in picking up. If you have any questions, let me know. Always, I love reading comments. I am horrible at responding to them. So don't take it personally. I rarely ever respond to anybody, but I read everyone's comments, and I really, really am thankful for them. And whatever you have to say will probably also be helpful to other people who are looking through the comments. So please continue to comment cool things. Yeah, I'm just so excited to have this series. This is my new favorite thing. Anyway, thank you so much for watching.